nightmares are scary dreams that occur during certain stages of sleep. All of us, we have already experienced nightmares. Those terrifying hallucinations where scary pictures are so real that we shake and sweat, fearing the end of our life. Thankfully, nightmares end when we wake up and open our eyes. And that is why we are here talking to you today. Because today, the nightmare is here for those who dare to wake up and open their eyes. Studies show that nightmares are more frequent during childhood. Well, between my 11th and 15th year, I lived in Vietnam, a dreamlike landscape place with its natural wonders. The terrace rice fields, the limestone pillars of Halong Bay, the mysterious caves, the tropical rainforests, and the white sand beaches. What I could see was real. But you know, at the same time, I was able to observe more and more typhoons, killing more and more people. I was there when floods of the Mekong ruined crops. Thousands of Vietnamese have already had to migrate to escape this damage. I was able to observe the erosions of beaches disappearing in the sea. Trust me, you do not want to see that. Vietnam is one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change, with its more than 3,000 kilometers of coast. At that time, it was impossible for me to close my eyes, because the nightmare was right in front of me. And you know what's crazy? Is that those facts were actually predicted by the IPCC report. You know, the floods, hurricanes, typhoons, they do not just trigger randomly. They are scientifically predictable. Because the planet is warming up. And the temperature is rising. And this continuous rise is mostly due because of CO2. Our country, Belgium, has slipped to the bottom of the class in terms of climate goals. If we do not take additional measures, we will miss our 2030 climate targets.
When you see things like this happening, you become afraid. Afraid and mostly angry. Your feeling of being powerless grows when 80,000 people come on the streets to demand an eco-pact that 2 days later won't even be signed. When you see forest fires, droughts, floods, hurricanes, but no political action. And when you see top politicians like Nicolas Hulot in France resigning, saying, I do not longer want to give the illusion that my position within this government means we are handling this problem seriously. So I quit, because I no longer want to lie. He literally resigned because he no longer wanted to lie. You know, this Earth is 4.6 billion years old. So let's scale that down to 46 years, which means we've lived on this planet for approximately 4 hours. And our industrial revolution began 1 minute ago. In that time, we already destroyed 50%, half of the rainforests worldwide, the very lungs of this planet. And that's when you reach a point of, it's been enough. You know, I am done. I am not letting my future be stolen in front of my very eyes anymore. And that's when my mom told me about Greta Thunberg. I had never heard of her before, but I Googled her, I saw what she was doing, I saw her speech, and I thought, this girl is a hummingbird. No, she's not going to save the climate crisis on her own, but at least she is doing her part. So I'm gonna do mine. We released a video saying that we would demonstrate in front of the parliament to demand climate justice and political action. When I went down to Brussels 1 week later followed by 3 camera crews and around 20 people, I remember thinking, what if no one shows up? I mean, this could either be the walk of shame or the walk of fame. And then we arrived, and 3,000 people showed up. The week after that, 15,000. The week after that, 35,000. And before we knew it, 120 countries were striking every week to demand climate justice. A whole world united over this one topic, the climate crisis. And a new generation was born. A generation of hope. A generation of climate warriors, but mostly a generation of change.
As I said previously, nightmares are known to be more frequent during childhood. Indeed, the future generations will have to face regular nightmares. But trust me, not during their sleep. They will have to face them clearly awake. You know, these past weeks and even months, thousands and thousands of youth are brave enough to face the fact of climate change and claim for action. Well, we urge you, we must look at facts, because facts reflect us. The hummingbird, facing a forest fire, carried drop by drop water in its little beak to try and extinguish the fire. It was disparaged by the other animals. But you know what? At least it was doing what it could. Now, take 2 hummingbirds, 3, 500,000. They are no longer just little birds. They are no longer just insignificant details. They become a huge hum, rising from the north of Europe to the south, from the east to the west, in the United States, in New Zealand, in Australia, rising all around the globe. Sometimes, Anuna and I, we are accused of being catastrophists or manipulated by the conspiracy theories. This world is so strange. Who is truly awake and who is sleeping? Like Alice in Wonderland, our world has fallen into the rabbit hole. Our world has become a surreal story. But we believe that young strikers are awake. They stand up and ask adults not to turn their backs on the danger. Because as Churchill said, if you run away from danger, you'll double it. But if you face it, you'll reduce it by half. Never run away from danger. Never. CO2 is rising, but we need to reduce it. The IPCC report is clear. We have 12 years. We have 12 years to react firmly. So we need collective actions to prevent a collective nightmare. But you know what? The good news is that solutions exist. You know, some little communities are already active. Plenty of scientists are giving us the solutions. And now, many citizens are expecting action. So what is missing? Courage. Courage and caring about the things that matters. Martin Luther King said, "Our lives end the day we become silent about what truly matters." Well, we refuse to stay silent, and we dare to fight for what truly matters. You know, every change in human history happened because a group of people dared to fight about the old system and demanded a new one. We will not change if we keep acting like we did during the past few decades.
But though, we can be honest about it, right? I mean, we are not asking politicians and world leaders to help us because we are impressed by what they've done. It's just because we don't have anything else. I mean, we get that questioning the very foundations of our own system might seem very threatening, but it's the only way to build a new one. And yes, we must stop putting millions and millions of dollars into saving this world, but then billions and billions on destroying it. Because we are the future, and we must promise ourselves to take care of this planet with the same love that we take care of our families. You know, we get that it sometimes sounds impossible. How do you save an existential crisis? But then again, humanity has already showed how much it can do. We made a whole world run on technology in only 1 century. We ended not 1, but 2 world wars. And when we put a man on the moon, John F. Kennedy said, "We don't do this because it's easy. We do this because it's hard." Things that had seemed impossible years before became a reality. So yes, humanity already showed how much it can do. When was it ever more worth it to fight for it than now? Thousands of people are coming on the streets every week because they believe in this revolution. They believe in their future and they are ready to fight for it. You know, we are asking this for the children in Mozambique. The children of this world who are suffering, who have seen their cities destroyed by hurricanes, their homes flooded by the rising sea level. For the millions of animal species that we kill every year. And the human lives that have already been lost. For them we ask you to please be the change we need to see in this world, not only to save our future, but also to save their present. You know, the first step is the hardest. The first step is you leaving this room after our talks, knowing that you will also have to be a part of the revolution, knowing that you will also have to carry on this message and do everything in your power that you can do to save this planet and our future. But at the end of the day, that is up to you. Thank you.